day to all. Today we are going to learn the chapter Force and Pressure. I think all are familiar with the term force, isn't it? And in class 7, you have learned how does an object move and how can we decide whether an object is moving faster than the other. And you may also know that a moving object, for example, a rolling ball on the ground, slows down and may change its direction of motion. Have you ever wondered how did it happen? Okay, let's go through some of our daily activities. Open the door or close the window, kick a ball, hit a ball with a bat. In these activities, we can see many actions such as pulling, pushing, kicking, flicking, etc. Each of these actions can be described a state of change of motion on an object. Let's go through some of the examples. And here in the first picture, ringing the doorbell. While ringing, you are applying force in the form of push. In the second one, moving a wagon ride. While moving, you are applying force in the form of pull. Flying a kite. While flying the kite, you are applying force in the form of pull. Dialing the phone. While dialing the phone, you are applying force in the form of push. That is, you are pressing the numbers so that we are applying the force in the form of push. Opening a door. You can open a door in inward direction or outward direction. So depending upon the situation, sometimes you have to pull or you have to push. Kicking a ball. While kicking a ball, you are applying force in the form of push. In all these examples, we can say we have applied force in the form of either a pull or push or both. So, in this section, mainly we are going to study about what is a force, what are the changes a force can do on an object, and what are the different types of forces. Shall we? Earlier from these examples, we have classified either a push or pull or both are involved in every action. So, in science, a push or pull on an object is called a force. In science, we can define force as push or pull on an object is called force. The SI unit of force is Newton and it is a vector quantity. Since it is described by both its direction and magnitude, force is a vector quantity. SI unit is Newton and force is a vector quantity. Then how does it happen? Forces are due to an interaction. Forces are happening due to the interaction of two objects. In the first picture, you can see a man is standing behind a stationary car. Will the car move with his presence? No. He has to apply some force on it, isn't it? So, in the second picture, you can see a man starts to apply some force on it so that the car begins to move. He has pushed the car so that the car started to move. And here the interaction of the two objects are very important. Then only a force will come to play in between them. Here you can see two pictures. In the first picture, two girls are pushing each other. Can you say who is pushing whom? No. Here two girls are interacting each other. That means they are applying force on each other. In the second picture, a man and a cow are pulling each other. Here also, can you say who is pulling who? No. Both are pulling each other so that both are applying force on each other. So, the interaction of objects are very important. Then only a force will come into play between them. We all are familiar with the game, tug of war. Here, two teams pull at a rope in opposite directions. Members of both the teams are trying to pull the rope in their direction. Team which pulls harder, that means applying more force, wins the game. Here in this picture, 6 children are here and 6 are interacting each other, that means they are applying force on each other. So from these examples we can understand at least 2 objects must be there, then only a force will come into play between them. When one object interacts with the other object, a force will act in between them. So in general, many forces are acting on an object. In that case, the effect of force is the net force. The effect of force is the net force, so that we have to find out net force in such cases. Here, when 2 forces are acting in the same direction, the net force is the sum of the 2 forces. Here, in this picture you can see 2 forces are acting from the same direction on an object. So here you have to find out the sum of the 2 forces, that will be the net force acting on the object. Here 2 forces are acting from opposite directions, acting in an opposite direction, so that we have to find out the difference between them. The difference will give you the net force. For example, you can see here 2 forces are acting on an object from the same direction. The first one is F. The first one I denoted as F1 and the second one I denoted as F2. F1 is equal to 10 Newton and F2 is equal to 15 Newton. So what's the net force here? You have to find out sum of the 2 forces. Find out the sum like this, F1 plus F2, that means you got 25 Newton. So the net force is equal to 25 Newton. And this is the direction of the net force. And here 2 forces are acting in the opposite direction. The F1 30 Newton and F2 10 Newton. So that since both are acting in the opposite directions, we have to find out the difference between them. F1 minus F2, that is you will get 20 Newton. And what is the direction of the force here? And this is the direction of the force. Always remember, and this is the direction of the force, and always remember the object will move in the direction of the larger force. Here 30 Newton is the larger force, so the object will move in the direction of the larger force. See another example in which how can you calculate the net force. Here also 2 forces are acting from the different directions. So we have to find out the difference between them. You can see from the figure itself, both the forces are in the same magnitude, that means 15 Newton each. So what is the net force here? The net force is equal to 0. What does it indicate? The object cannot move from here. The object will be at rest or static. The object does not move. That is the meaning of 0 Newton, or the difference between the 2 forces are 0 means the object does not move. The object will be at rest position. These forces are known as balanced forces. When 2 equal and opposite forces acting on an object, the object will be at rest. That cannot move from there. Next, what are the changes a force can do on an object? What are the effects of force? There are mainly 4 effects are there. Okay, shall we discuss one by one? The first one, a force can change the state of motion of an object. That means a force can make an object to move from rest. In the same way, force can stop an object also. In example, the first one, kicking a ball. While kicking a ball, you are making an object into the movement position. The ball was in the rest position, but while kicking, it starts to move. Catching a cricket ball. While catching the cricket ball, you are stopping a moving object. Before catching, it was in the movement position or it was in motion, but after catching, it came to the rest position or static. So you can make the object from rest to motion and motion to rest. Second one, force can change the speed of an object if it is moving. Here also 2 options are there. We can apply force in the same direction of the movement of the object. If you are applying the force in the same direction of the motion of the object, the speed of the object will increase. For example, while giving the accelerator, the speed of the vehicles will increase. In the second case, the force can be applied in the opposite direction of the movement of the object. If you are applying the force in the opposite direction of the object, the speed of the object will decrease. The third one, force can change the direction of motion of an object. While flicking a hockey ball with a stick, we can change the direction of motion of an object. And the fourth one, a force can change the shape of an object. While stretching a rubber band, we are applying force. Fourth one, force can change the shape of an object. While stretching a rubber band, we are applying force on it so that its shape will be changed. If you release the force, it will come to its shape. So force can change the shape of an object. So mainly we have discussed 4 points here. Force can change the state of motion of an object. The second one, force can change the speed of an object if it is moving. Third one, force can change the direction of motion of an object, and force can change the shape of an object. In the state of motion, there are 2 points to be there to remember. The first one, there is a change in the speed of an object or its direction of motion. We can describe as state of change of motion. And the second one, the state of rest is considered to be the state of zero speed, because when the object is at rest, there is no movement, so there is no speed. That's why we are considered this to be the state of zero speed. Either a change in the direction of motion or in its speed is considered to be the state of motion of an object, and state of rest is considered to be the state of zero speed. Next, we are going to deal with what are different types of forces. In types of forces, mainly force can be divided into 2 groups: contact forces and non-contact forces. Contact forces means the force which can exert an object when it is in contact with only. For example, muscular force and frictional force. Non-contact forces means the force can exert on the object if it is not in contact with the object. Example, magnetic force, electrostatic force and gravitational force. So we will discuss one by one. The first one, muscular force. Can you lift this book up without touching it? No. Can you take a bucket of water without holding it? No. So generally, to apply force on an object, our body has to be in contact with it, directly or indirectly. Indirectly means with the help of stick or rope, etc. If we want to apply force on the object, or if we want to lift the book, we have to be in touch with it, isn't it? Now, what's the force of agent here? The muscles of our hands. So, the muscle can also exert force on the object. If the force is exerted due to the action of muscles, such type of forces are known as muscular force. So, in our daily activities, most of the things we can do with the help of the muscular force. Even breathing, digestion of food, these all the things are happening with the help of muscular force. Not only human beings, but also animals can exert muscular force. While they are doing some activities such as pulling cart or carrying loads, they are using their muscular force to do these activities. So the force exerted by the action of muscles is known as muscular force. Since muscular force can only exert when it is in contact with the object, it is called a contact force. In the beginning of this chapter, I told you a moving object, for example, a rolling ball on the ground, slows down and comes to rest. When we stop pedaling a bicycle, its speed decreases and gradually comes to rest. In the same way, for vehicles also, when you switch off the engine, the speed of the vehicles slows down and comes to rest. In all these situations, no force appears to be acting on it, yet the speed of the moving objects decreases and gradually comes to rest. What's the reason? This is nothing but because of the frictional force. Whenever two surfaces are in contact with each other, there comes the frictional force or force of friction. The direction of the frictional force is always in the opposite direction of the movement of the object. That's why without any external force, a moving object slows down and comes to rest. When two surfaces are in contact with each other, the force of friction comes to play in between the objects, and the direction of the frictional force is always in the opposite direction of the motion of the object. Since this can arise due to the contact between the two surfaces, it is also called a contact force. Magnetic force. In class 6, you have learned what is a magnetic force, isn't it? Anybody? Okay. The force exerted by a magnet on another magnet when it is within the magnetic field. That is very important. What is a magnetic field then? A magnet can exert its magnetic force within a certain area around it. Suppose if you are keeping any magnetic material or another magnet far away from the magnet, it cannot exert force on it. It should be within the magnetic field. Then only the magnet can exert force on it. It can be attractive force or repulsive force. Already we have learned in class 6, a magnet has two poles, north pole and south pole. So here, like poles repel each other and unlike poles attract each other. Since magnet can exert a force on another magnet or magnetic materials without contact with it, it is called a non-contact force. Next one, gravitational force or gravity. If you throw a stone in the upward direction, what happened to the stone? Will it go anywhere? No. After some time, it will come down. Fruits and leaves fall down towards the ground when they get detached from the plants, isn't it? Water begins to flow towards the downward direction as soon as you open the tap. Why it is so? Have you ever think about it? Because Earth has the ability to attract everything towards its center. Earth is attracting every object towards its center. That's why every object comes down. We cannot see the force, but everything will be attracted towards its center. That force is known as gravitational force. It is always an attractive force. Gravitational force is always an attractive force. Gravity is not the property of Earth alone, but in the universe, every object, whether it is large or small, everything exerts a force on each other. That's why this is known as universal law of gravitation. So Earth has the ability to attract every object towards its center, that is known as gravitational force or gravity. It is always an attractive force. Every object in the universe exerts a force on each other. Since Earth can attract every object without any contact with it, it is called a non-contact force. The next one, electrostatic force. I think you all are familiar with this activity. From this picture, you can understand the activity, isn't it? Take a comb and rub with your dry hair. After that, bring the comb towards small strips of paper so that the paper can be attracted towards the comb. How did they attract it towards the comb? Is any magnet is there? No, because of the presence of the electrostatic charges. When you rub the comb with your hair, some charges are produced on the comb. Because of the presence of these charges, the paper strips are attracted towards the comb. These charges cannot move, that's why they are known as electrostatic charges. So the force exerted due to the electrostatic charges is known as electrostatic force. And here also, a charged body can attract an uncharged body, isn't it? In this picture, comb got the charges, but the paper strips are uncharged ones. So a charged body can attract an uncharged body. In the same way, suppose if you are taking a plastic scale and rub with your dry hair so that The plastic scale also will get charges. After that, bring the scale towards the comb. Will it attract? No. They will repel each other because the comb and the scale we have rubbed with the same material. So they cannot attract each other, they will repel each other. Here also there are two types of charges are there. Like charges and unlike charges. So like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. So in this section mainly we have discussed about what's a force, what are the effects of force, how can we calculate the net force, and what are the different types of forces. I hope you all got the concept, and we will meet in the next class with the next topic, pressure. Thank you. Have a nice day.